Hey, thanks for joining me on the evening bike ride. Um, I'm having to do this in voiceover kind of after the fact because a combination of wind noise and the noise from the motorcycle makes it really hard to hear anything that I'm saying. So, you'll probably hear some background noise because I'm outside my shop doing this voiceover, and a lot of motorcycles like to go by really loud. So, Thailand has a definite motorcycle culture, and pretty much everybody has a bike, old or young. So this ride, Angun and I actually tried going kind of a different direction. We take evening motorcycle rides usually during the kind of golden hour, like the sunset time, when the sun's going down. Uh, we usually try to do it to take a little break from our shop and the work, and to look forward to something, every day. Even if it's a boring day, we can go for a ride and explore a little bit. We went into this little village, which was interesting because it's a big sugarcane village, and as you can see, well, I guess I cut too soon, but there's quite a few sugarcane trucks. It's crushing season right now, so look, there's a truck ahead there. Um, Actually, at this very point, I was a little bit worried about where I was going to go, so I rushed up and kind of pulled halfway into this person's driveway. These trucks kind of remind me of dinosaurs. They're huge and they're everywhere. But that's full of basically chopped up sugar cane. And the factory's not far from here, probably about maybe 5 miles. And yeah, this is a big economic time for these villages. And so today we took a different way. Instead of traveling around the more urbanized areas, we decided to go to this village and get a little bit off the beaten track. And I discovered, riding the time before, I discovered this little dirt trail right here. And I wanted to come back and kind of film it, but this is interesting because Thailand has a pretty severe water shortage, and these crops like rice especially, but sugarcane also, almost every Asian crop depends on kind of a torrential downpour on occasion. That just hasn't happened a lot this year, so people are getting smarter and they're digging these lakes, and they're damming up areas. And next year, when these fill up, it's going to give them a huge resource to, keep growing the sugar cane. And it's nice to see normal Thai people that aren't even very affluent. They basically come together and pool their resources. And another thing they do, which is fairly clever, is it's really good soil. So you'll see hundreds of dump trucks full of it, and they sell it. So by the time that hole is dug for that lake, maybe they can recover half of that money in selling that really rich soil. And you can see this field's already harvested. But off to the left, and Goon's filming here kind of while I drive, off to the left you'll see little fishing areas. And I'm not really sure if the water's high enough, but what they do is they lower a net and then they bring it up suddenly throughout the day, and they pick up various small fish, which they sell at the market. Usually, small fish can go for anywhere between 50 cents and maybe $2 or $3. But one thing they take into account, even though that money doesn't sound like a lot here, the average Thai person makes about $10 per day. That's considered a good wage. $6 a day is considered an acceptable wage. So I know that doesn't sound like a lot to us. We think about, oh my gosh, how could I pay rent and bills on that? Well, you can't really pay American bills on that or European bills, but the Thai, like a rent for an apartment starts off at about 2,000 baht, which is about $60 a month. So if you consider it that way, consider that a lot of people live together and split bills, it's a somewhat livable wage. But I think the the mountain in the background is really neat. I haven't seen a lot of mountains like that where it's one single kind of long mesa on top. Kind of looks like a crater on Mars or something. And one thing about the sugarcane too is there's not any workers right now. They've stopped because the sun's going to go down after this about maybe 40 minutes. Is they actually cut everything by hand. So most, I'd say 80% of these farms, they literally cut by hand. And you'll see people bring in little small pickup trucks full of sugar cane, and you'll see massive, massive semi-trucks too. They like to build these little huts. It's kind of a combination of a place to rest, a place to escape the rain, and in this case, it's a place that this guy can watch his fishing nets. Another reason the sugarcane lakes are by these little rivers, these little creeks, is because they'll actually pump the water, from these creeks into the and flood their crop. Yeah, this is one thing I'm kind of happy to get to share with you guys. It's just the beauty of the land, the agricultural, the farm, and the fact that you can pretty much go to any city, including Bangkok, and when you get maybe just a few miles outside, it goes rural very, very fast, and the villages go what we call very local very fast. So for me, that's a charming part about Thailand because the local life tends to be a more simple life and innocent. And it's kind of cool that there's places in the world where people can still live a simple existence. Yeah, I can see Angun did a good job filming here. And keep in mind, she's basically filming as I'm going up and down. This camera has really good stabilization, but I'm actually on a dirt path that has a lot of bumps in it. And so she's kind of holding on with her legs while she films. That's one thing that's really neat about Thai people is they kind of grow up on motorcycles. So I like to joke it's similar to the way Mongolians grow up with horses. And they can hold on, they can get on their phones, they can talk. Anything that we can do in a car, they can do on a motorcycle, which is, I think, kind of cute and interesting. Well, this is kind of the end of the journey. Had to stop and turn around. The camera was getting hot and I was running out of gas, but thank you so much for joining me on this. Enjoyed showing you the ride, and if this is interesting for you, hit subscribe or leave a comment. Let me know, and I'll continue to take you into different places. Have a great day, and always make the best of every experience.